Hey everyone, welcome back. So I hope you guys had a great day. A couple things we want to talk about is Fed Chair Powell. Obviously, he talked about crypto today in his speech a little bit. We'll also take a look at Digihost, their $10 million line of credit, and DMG provided their production updates for February. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the miners, see how they did today, along with Bitcoin on the charts, and we'll get into the stories. All right. So as always, not financial advice. You know the spiel here. I'm invested in the following companies and coins. For full disclosure, so let's take a look at the miners here really quick on the charts. So Sphere 3D was down today, 0.87% to $2.29. Obviously, Bitcoin didn't do much today either, so it's kind of flat a little bit on the day as far as sideways trading for the day. But we did see, obviously, Argo go up a little bit, 2.7% to 91 cents. Bitfarms was up almost 0.75% to $4.06. Cleanspark was up 2.5% to $10.95. Cores was up almost 2.8% to $7.70. Digihost was up a little bit over 0.75% to $3.83. DMG was up 1.5%, a little bit over that, to 52 cents. Hive was up almost 1% to $2.08. And then Hut 8 was up 1.64% to $6.21. Iris Energy was up almost 2%, 1.99 to $15.41. And we got Mara up 3% on the day. It's down a little bit in the after hours, but it was up to $26.88. And then we got Mawson, which was down 2.15% to $3.64. And finally, Riot was up 1.31% to $17.73. And we can see here on the chart that we are basically trading sideways for the last couple of days here. Very little movement in the price of miners. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Nope, not there. Yeah, there. So that's the first story, but we'll take a look at the miners here. Let me get rid of my little... Okay. So Bitcoin's at 43,779, roughly right around there. RSI on the 1 hour chart has been going down. We did try again today, breaking that resistance of 44,700. We went above it and failed again. So in the long span of things, we've tried it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We keep trying that resistance, and it's, you know, starting to be a pretty good resistance for us. We're having a hard time breaking above it. So the good thing is that I'm seeing here is the RSI is going down, which obviously gives us a little bit more strength, I think, when we go back up to possibly break through this resistance, which we're trying to get through, and then hopefully that'll become our support. So that's kind of the plan right now. I see possibly happening in the next couple of days here. I think the price is going to probably fluctuate a little bit in here, and then eventually we'll get to a point where we just blast up above it, and we'll see if we can maintain that support at 44,700, and see if we can climb higher as well. Take a look at Ethereum here really quick. So Ethereum is at 2,941 right now. It is also battling with the 50-day moving average right now. It went above it, and it's been bouncing through it. I got to look to see if we have any supports here on it. And I mean, right now it looks like resistance is basically the 3,000 mark on it. We'll have to see obviously how this plays out. But RSI has been coming down as well. So that's going to give Ethereum some more, obviously, room to go up once it does go up, I think. I don't think if it's going to do it. I think it's just when it's going to do it. Right now in the charts, at least that's what it's showing me. And let's take a look at the Bitcoin hash rate on the network. Let's reload the page. So we are obviously back up. We were up to, what was it, 223 million on the hash rate. We came down a little bit to 208. We've obviously decreased a little bit, 7.93% decrease in the last 24 hours on it. But it's still, obviously, if we trend out far enough, we can see that it is going up continually, and it's going to continue doing that, obviously, as the miners get installed. So let's take a look at the first story here on Fed Chair Powell. So Fed Chair Powell, war underscores need for crypto regulation. I talked about this a little bit in prior video or the one before that, maybe 2 videos ago. I said one of the things that's concerning to me, at least, with all the sanctions that are going in Russia, that some Russians might use Bitcoin as a way to skirt the system and, you know, get money out that way via Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies or stable coins, something like that. And this, one of my fears is that eventually we're going to get regulations that are going to basically green light or red light certain transactions depending on the owner because it's KYC, right? Know your customer. So then that way they can trigger or tag basically any nationals from Russia or something like that, that those individuals cannot trade online, not trading platforms, but trading platforms. The exchanges will have to comply, obviously, because they are going to be regulated eventually to the point where if they don't comply, they are going to get shut down. And nobody wants to do that. So I think this is the eventuality that we're heading into. We're going to get regulated kind of like cash, KYC, anti-money laundering, and all that fun stuff. As long as you're not doing anything. Obviously, the bad part is even there's a lot of people in Russia that aren't doing anything bad. It's all on Putin. They're still stuck, obviously, with all the sanctions and everything else. And it's unfortunate because a lot of times the people that are the poorest in the country obviously will end up paying the higher price, I think. But that's just my 2 cents there. So I talked about this a little bit, and here's what Fed Chair Powell had to say. So Fed Chair Powell, Fed Chair Pro Tempor Jerome Powell said Russia's invasion of Ukraine could emphasize a need for cryptocurrency regulations to prevent sanctioned individuals from using cryptocurrencies to evade sanctions. Powell said, we have this burgeoning industry which has many parts to it, and there isn't in place the kind of regulatory framework that needs to be there. So he's talking about obviously being able to block people basically from being able to use it. So if you're a bad actor, you would get shut out, and this is what they're talking about, framework. Framework is basically laws and regulations that will allow them to put a stop to it, basically. So that's coming eventually. I said it's going to be a gradual shift to that. I don't know how fast it's going to move, but I'm guessing within the next 3 to 5 years, we'll probably see this kind of laws being passed. Powell also referred to the possibility that terrorists or other malicious actors could use cryptocurrency as further examples of the need for additional regulation. So you're seeing this shift, and obviously we know regulations were coming, but I think they're going to be a lot harsher now than they might have been in the previously. Powell also indicated that the U.S. Central Bank would try to mitigate inflation by raising rates later this year. He said that the central bank was set to raise its policy rate, but the situation in Ukraine may have changed expectations. Still, he told Congress his expectations is that inflation will peak and come down by the end of the year. I'm thinking the same thing. Powell said he's inclined to impose and support a 25 basis point rate hike in March, which is okay, and I think the markets actually responded to it today by going up quite a bit. The markets did very well today. For the most part, they were up, I think, almost over 2%. Some of them were like the NASDAQ and things like that. So they obviously saw this as dovish instead of hawkish, and I think we'll see how this plays out. But I think we may get more hikes in the future where we end up with maybe 75 basis points by the end of the year. But we'll see. And I think that was it in that one. So this is just something to be mindful of. Keep an eye on it. Obviously, regulations are coming. Whether you like it or not, they are coming. I do think some regulations are good. Over stringent regulations are obviously bad. We don't want it to temper or hamper the innovations in this space. But we'll monitor it, see what happens there. Next is Digihost arranges 10 million credit facility. So Digihost is pleased to announce the closing of a 10 million U.S. committed collateralized revolving credit facility with Securitize Inc., the loan facility. The loan facility provides Digihost with significant non-dilutive, so this is good, liquidity options to assist in the financing of its aggressive growth strategy. The loan facility has a 1-year commitment term and an interest rate of 7.5% per annum and has been fully drawn by the company, so they obviously already grabbed it. So this will be used to fund both operating and capital costs, thereby giving Digihost the ability to continue to add to its Bitcoin inventory, a key component of the company's value creation strategy. So obviously they're not diluting shares, which is good. And they're going to have to pay this back, which is okay. That's fine. And, interest rate isn't too bad. 7.5% is not bad. And that's it for Digihost. Obviously we saw some numbers from Mara yesterday, so we talked about that in yesterday's video. And then let's take a look at DMG. DMG provided their numbers for February. I checked to see if anybody else has provided theirs. They haven't, so we'll just get into DMG. DMG had a nice little increase here based on where they are with their hash rate and where they're trying to get to. It was a nice little increase, obviously. Any little bit of increase counts. So key February 2022 statistics, BTC mined was 63.05. I didn't update in my sheet, but I will update that now. Daily average was 2.25 Bitcoins. Miners added, so they added 118 miners. Hash rate added was basically 12 petahash, and then hash rate reached was 510 petahash. So they wrote here on the bottom, the added miners were part of the January shipment, while the February shipment is in on the way and expected to arrive early March. Despite that, on-site expansion moved along at a great pace, putting us ahead of schedule. So they're still doing okay based on what they're saying here. So let's take a look at what I got for them. And they mined 6305 Bitcoin, so I got to add that to my sheet here. So let's scroll down here. Let's add in February down here. So they actually mined a little bit less than they did 6305. 6305 for February, Feb 2022. So the current value of that is, let's see here. Oh, something's not right here. What's not right? I'm using January price, mine January, settings table. Oh, okay. Well, we can do that. Take this equals that times our number here, 43, and we get a value of 2.7 million on it. They did mine 1.89 less Bitcoin this month in February than they did in January. Obviously, February was also less days in it, had only 28 days compared to January. And there was basically a decrease of 2.9% month over month. We saw this also in January from December. So they are actually making less. And the reason to explain for that would be the hash rate of the network is increasing. More miners are getting installed by everybody else, and they're not keeping up with the rate of increase in the hash rate. So basically, if the hash rate goes up during the month, say 5%, they basically have to increase their hash rate 5% to just stay flat and increase it by more than 5% to get ahead of it. So that's kind of the challenge that they have to deal with. Otherwise, let's see here. So I added for the month here in February, I added these miners here. I added 118 of these. It gave us basically 10.6, almost 11 petahash. They said 12 petahash, I think. But I had them at 500 petahash at the start of, or at the end of January. And I added this, and we're pretty close to what they're saying right now. They're saying they have 510 petahash. I have them at 511 right now. So these added in, I put them in for 20 days only. Based on, I don't know when they installed them, but I'm guessing maybe they were running for maybe 20 days. I'm guessing, just guessing here. We don't know exactly, but that gave them basically an additional $51,000 in revenue for the month, or Canadian dollars. These are all Canadian dollars, and I converted over to USD. So for the month, it looks like they are at 3 million, which is a little bit less than they were in January. But going forward, if everything stays the same, you can see that in March, they would be at 3.3 million. So nice increase there. Obviously, March has a couple more days than it than February does. So February has 31 days, March has 31 days. February had 28 days on it. So if we look at it here, we're looking at approximately 9.5 million for the quarter here, depending on how many miners they get installed this month, which we're now in March. What else can I show you here? So price-wise, so they are, or hash rate-wise, they're at 511. I have them basically, they're saying 510, which is pretty close to that. Future hash rate, they're only about 33% of the way there. Number of miners currently installed is 5.6 thousand. Average hash rate per miner is about 90 terahash. And we're looking at, this is price earnings of 20. If we take that down to just 10, this should be about 93 cents with the price earnings multiple of 10, 75% net income from gross revenue. Gross revenue is calculated by the last 3 months plus the combined combination of this month here. So we're getting them to be at 25 million for the 4 quarters basically operating. That would give us 93 cents at 10 PE ratio, and they are at 51%, making me believe that they are undervalued right now. They do have not a lot of growth left in them. Obviously, they're going to be at 1.5, where the other guys are going to be a lot bigger. So they're going to be one of the smaller players here. So eventually, I was thinking about possibly doing it where anybody that's going to be over 5 exahash or maybe even above 10 exahash, I'll do 2 categories, large miners and small miners, anybody that's under that, and subdivide them a little bit to compare them better to each other that way. It's something I'm just thinking about. What else can I tell you here? So yeah, 93 cents is where I would think the price of the, where the stock price should be. If we go any further lower, we can see that they are actually being basically like 5.5 price earnings multiple right now on them compared to where they are with everybody else. But that's it. We'll see how things play out for them. how much they get installed in March. Obviously, the other miners are going to be reporting as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll be doing a video on it as well once those come out. As always, the spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members. If you want to get access to it there, you can. Helps me out tremendously there as well. And if you enjoyed the video, all I ask from you guys is thumbs up on the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day, sometimes on Sundays even, but not always. So appreciate you guys watching very much. Hope you guys have a great evening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,